I think my relationship with my mum has really blossomed since the family group conference. I think it really helps with not just my mum, but multiple members of the family, kind of just to see things from everybody's point of view, because I don't think we'd ever all come together and all heard each other out.
I think another thing as well, just to kind of touch on that, is Jasmine's involvement and kind of how she took the leadership in the FGC. I think I remember, Jasmine, did you write down the answers in private time?
Yeah.
Okay, I guessed it, but I just kind of thought if I remembered, like, because Jasmine, you was really kind of at the forefront of the FGC. So yeah, and that, for example, Tim, it just kind of speaks volumes for the young person having all those different people there to take the lead in private time and also put down a network's family members' answers.
Before, my mum, like, there would be situations like, say I'll go to box and I'll come back. My mum would, even though my mum's a good mum and that, sometimes she wouldn't ask me how boxing is and that, but when we had that WhatsApp group call, she'll always be behind me in them things, you know, and it will help me out. You know what I'm saying? It will give me motivation.
Yeah. And I think, like, when we done those questions, it was about everything. So, like, his home life was affecting his ability to achieve his success. So when we would talk about the questions, I was like, well, if we do this bit first, that bit will do this bit, and this bit will do that bit. So even the order of the questions were thought about.
It was very organized, man.
And I feel like it helped Bernard. Like, it helped him, and it also helped his family, because I think they looked at him in a different way, because he knew what he wanted. He came with a level of focus. He knew what he was working towards, and he was clear. There wasn't no indecisiveness. He knew the two things he wanted to pursue, but he knew it would be physical, and he knew it would be like training based. And all of his family got involved and said, we can do this, I can do that, which as a whole supported him, I feel.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, stuff changed after that, man. I knew about this, but I ain't like sat and like wrote stuff down to say to you lot, because it's all from the heart. It's all from the heart at the end of the day. I ain't sat down and wrote, like, thought of your lot's questions and thought what to say about Jordell. And no, it's all from the heart. Like, everything I'm saying is not scripted. But yeah, 100%. I don't know, if I didn't meet Jay, I don't know how I would, like, express myself in some ways, you know? Or if my family would have come closer, or, like, you know.
When we first had, I think that set the foundation for us. Like, it created the space we wanted. The type 100%. Of relationship this would be, just be upfront, be honest, let's be proactive, you know. I think that initial meet created our meets onwards, you know, that set the right foundation between us.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. 100%. Because there's so many other, like, guys out there that are like me, you know. They need this kind of thing in their life. They need someone like Jay in their life to help them, you know. There's loads of people that are like me and should do this, bruv, because it's helpful, innit, man? It's very helpful.
I didn't know that my family were able to talk. What I mean, as in, like, I didn't know that they could talk like that. Like, we could actually discuss things and sort out things. And the way that even the coordinator was like, oh, you did this so quick. Like, I didn't know that that we could actually sit down and talk, and, you know, and also, like, I could talk to different people about different situations, but actually having everyone there and explaining it just all at one, it helps as well. And I just felt really supported as well, because I didn't know. I just thought I was doing everything by myself, really. Just seeing that I actually do have people that actually do want to help me. I don't have to do this by myself. So yeah, I got burgled, like, and even though the plan wasn't for that the plan that was, like, what happened to me there. Like, we used the plan. You know, they checked up on me, they checked on my health to see if I was okay. They said, you know what, you can come here. you can come to my house, and like everything that was written on the plan for a different situation, you know, helped for something else. So it's like, yeah, it was really good.
It helped us to be more closer as well, and I feel more comfortable to speak to people and more open, not like before that I keep things to myself. Yeah, so it is really good. People have different reaction that from what I presume them. So I think she is like helping me to get out of that box and be brave and not to worry so much. It's not a shame thing that when you have problems, everybody has problems. So when you really need help, you can ask for help. Yeah, and people are willing to help. It's not like nobody cares about it. But so it helps me to change me and change me to see the world and change my relationship with people. I think a lot of people might be the same as me. That is silly, actually. I think those thinking I had before. So after the FGC, I think I would like to use my experience to help other people. Don't fall in that trap. And if I can come out from that trap, then they can too.
I think with looked after children, we focus so much on education and things, and we do it all together. So actually the social workers for our looked after children are very involved with our schools. And actually for child in need, and it's not to say that the social workers don't try and that they're not involved, but it's a different involvement, and we've been able to help out or guide through things that actually maybe that was new for them. And I think that's a really nice thing to be able to share our practices, their practices, and just have a bit more of an open mind, because that helps us then come in and working with kids and think a bit differently and maybe adapt a bit differently. I've definitely taken that back to some of my looked after children as well. And also I think because you're working much more with families. So again, you get so used to working with foster carers and with care homes, and actually you don't work with the families so much. And I used to when I worked in schools, but it's nice to have that contact with families again and support. And I think we had some really lovely outcomes with child in need, right balance. And it was really nice to be able to help out the parents who really wanted that help.
How can others trust in the service that we're going to provide if we don't know ourselves, if they can't see a unified team or something that is working smoothly, right? Because if I'm now in a meeting with the social worker and we can't make head nor tail in terms of what the project is or what we're aiming to do, I don't think they can invest in us. And I think there's a key thing there in regards to investment. So that conversation with the worker or that conversation with the school, it's more in regards to how do we sing off the same hymn sheet as opposed to having this kind of like crash of voices.
Stop The issue does not become rooted in this one parent who is not doing what the social worker says. This is externalizing the problems over sort of generations within the community and a society, a larger society, that then I think helps parents move away from feeling blamed to feeling understood, and therefore able to find a new narrative together, really, about what would help them and their family.
I very much saw that as holding in mind the different sort of domains. I guess there was a real sort of domain of production. There was a time scale, set time scale and areas to address, and action plans and ways forward to come from that meeting, but also to open up the area of exploration much more fuller in a systemic way. I think initially the family and how to position systemically to open up discussions with the family and develop new understandings about strategies and strengths and what might be informing these. Think about the challenges and resources in and around the family, and also consider the multiple perspectives and co-create different meanings, really.
So it was really to spend some time with Mark and Louise to really try and understand what those kind of maybe barriers were to engagement, some of the fears that the parents had. The family had previous intervention with mums for older children and quite actually had a very negative experience, and she'd had 4 children removed permanently from her care as a result of that process. So it was to think about how to reframe this new kind of intervention, I guess, whilst not watering down the risks and trying to get away from them, just to try and speak honestly and openly about the responsibility of the professionals and what they hope to do with the family.
I remember getting the feedback in terms of how this meeting went. It was very different to the child protection meetings initially, where, I was there with the parents and they looked like they were lost. It was, especially because English wasn't their first language, there was an interpreter, but they still felt that it was a very complicated meeting, which is talking about their children and their family lives. And they looked like they just kind of wanted to just have the meeting to be done and over with, but weren't really fully participating. But from hearing about how this meeting went, it just seemed like such a contrast to the other meetings where they actually felt they were part of a meeting that's about their lives, their children and their families.
Themes of helplessness came through having that meeting. Mum used the word help quite a lot. This helped us to understand that, she feels quite helpless and isolated, and I guess it was identified beforehand, because she doesn't speak English as her first language and she had limited support networks in the UK. It was identified that, there was some elements of isolation for Mum. But I guess just hearing it coming firsthand from her and not us just speculating on her behalf was more profound.
It reminds me of my British-born Ugandan friend. He talks about it takes a village to raise a child. And then that made me think about what this project is about, is the idea of how do we instinctively draw in the network what is there, what are the pillars of support, what is needed as a way of looking at the task we need to do, rather than it being an individual task for the social worker to do. That we're looking at resources that are there and how we work together with that.
I think the positive thing about it is that it allows families to be able to reflect with us, because I think, for example, we tend to do our assessments. That's the process that we do. We do our assessments, then we have the meeting and we kind of explain our assessment, our intervention. The professionals add it in, then the parents have to go along with that. And we may just mainly ask for their thoughts, how things are for them, but that's about it. They're not really part of that decision planning, except for maybe like an FGC, but never the statutory sort of child in need meetings where we do a lot of core decisions. So I think it was really interesting that they're allowed to be a part of that process, and why shouldn't they be when it's about their lives and their family?